Welcome to today's explainer. We're taking HTML forms, which, let's be honest, can feel like just another standard coding requirement, and turning them into your ultimate blueprint for exam success. If you're gearing up for the NIELIT O-Level M2-5 practicals, you already know forms are absolutely crucial. So today, we're going to lock in those high marks. Let's just dive right in. Mastering this stuff isn't just about web theory. As you can see, it's a guaranteed high-mark topic for the exam. Seriously, examiners absolutely love testing forms because they force you to prove you can combine inputs, logic, and structure into one flawless package.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. First, the foundation of user interaction. Then, get versus post methods. Next, essential HTML form tags, followed by single versus multiple choice logic. After that, the exact form building procedure. And finally, we'll tackle a practical challenge together.
All right, Section 1, Foundation of User Interaction. Let's talk about why we actually need forms in the first place. You know, static websites just don't cut it anymore, right? Whether it's a student registration page, a feedback form, or a user login, form design is a mandatory exam topic. Why? Because it tests your grasp of text inputs, dropdowns, and data validations all at the exact same time. It's pretty much the ultimate stress test for your front-end skills. Moving right along to Section 2, Get versus Post methods. This is all about the how and where of your data. Okay, so the form tag really relies on two main attributes to do the heavy lifting. First up is the action attribute. Think of this as the where. It literally tells the data the exact destination URL it needs to hit when a user clicks submit. Next is the method attribute. This is the how. It dictates the HTTP method, basically deciding whether your data travels securely or, well, very publicly. Now listen closely to this part because consider this a massive exam viva warning. You have got to memorize these differences. With get, data just gets appended directly to the URL. It's totally insecure. Seriously, submitting a password via get is basically like shouting your ATM PIN across a crowded room. It's really only meant for simple things like search queries. Post, on the other hand, is the heavy lifter. It hides data securely inside the HTTP request body and has unlimited capacity. For passwords or sensitive data, post is literally your only option. To really cement this in your memory, I like to think of the get method as sending a highly visible public postcard through the mail. Anyone who handles it can read exactly what's written on the back. The post method, though, that's your secure, wax-sealed envelope. The contents are tucked safely inside the body of the request, completely away from prying eyes.
All right, Section 3, Essential HTML Form Tags. Let's look at mapping our actual code to the user interface.
Let's actually connect the syntax to what the user sees. A standard input tag with the type set to text gives you a basic text box. But if you just change that type to password, it instantly masks the characters as the user types. Pretty cool, right? For drop-down menus, you'll wrap option tags inside a select tag. Need a larger block of text? Go with the Textarea tag. Oh, and here's a pro tip for you. Always add the required attribute to prevent those super frustrating empty submissions. Which brings us to Section 4, Single versus Multiple Choice. Let's break down how state logic works. So when we need to strictly limit what a user can choose, we rely on a concept called mutually exclusive state logic. All this means is that within a specific group, selecting one option automatically forces any previously selected option to deselect itself. Think about selecting an exam module. You can only pick one valid answer, right? So we have to enforce that rule strictly in our code. We handled this using either radio buttons or checkboxes. And here's the absolute magic trick to making those radio buttons mutually exclusive. You have to make sure the name attribute is exactly identical across all the options. For example, both the male and female radio inputs must share name equals gender for the single selection to actually work. Checkboxes, on the other hand, are for multiple choice. They operate completely independently, so users can select 0, 1, or even all the options if they want. Now for Section 5, Form Building Procedure. This is the exact step logging workflow NIELIT looks for. When you finally sit down for your practical, you'll want to follow these exact 6 steps chronologically. Step 1, initialize your standard HTML5 boilerplate. Step 2, define the form element and immediately set the method to post. Step 3, structure your inputs logically using descriptive label tags. Step 4, implement the complex tags like selects and text areas. Step 5, add your functional buttons, submit to send it off, reset to clear it. And finally, step 6, save your file as an HTML document and actually open it up to verify the rendering in a browser. And that brings us to section 6, the practical challenge. It's time to build your own registration form.
All right, your task today is to take everything we've just covered and build an O-level exam registration form completely from scratch. You'll need to hit every single point on this checklist. Standard inputs for the full name and email, a masked password field, mutually exclusive radio buttons for the gender selection, a drop-down menu for the course module, an independent checkbox for agreeing to the terms, and of course, functional submit and reset buttons.
When you successfully write the code and follow the exact procedure we outlined, your final browser output should look just like this clean, organized interface. Notice how all the elements, the labels, text boxes, radio buttons, drop-downs, and the submit area, they all align perfectly to create a really seamless user experience.
So the blueprint is laid out. The logic of get versus post is clear, you know exactly which tags to use, and you totally understand how to control user selection. The only question left is, are you ready to fire up your code editor right now and build it yourself?
Once you've successfully conquered forms and validated your code in the browser, be sure to join us for our next explainer. We'll be moving on to day 06 of the challenge, where we're going to master HTML media tags. We'll learn how to inject audio, video, and rich imagery directly into your pages.
Think about this as you write your code today. Forms are truly the gateway to understanding how users and applications actually talk to each other across the internet. If you can build a secure form to capture data today, what's stopping you from building the next great interactive web application tomorrow? Keep practicing, stick to the workflow, and we'll see you in the next one.